Hello, welcome to San Diego Comic-Con. And I am Heidi McDonald, editor-in-chief of The Beat. And this year, our coverage is sponsored by Mad Cave Studios. Thank you so much, Mad Cave, for making it possible for me to be sitting here on Sunday, well, it's afternoon now, Sunday afternoon at Comic-Con, the first Comic-Con in 3 years. And boy, reunited and it feels so good. You could see behind us, it's still, it's still here. It's not in shot, but the rookie is over there. Nathan Fillion has returned to the walls of Petco Park. American Horror Story has returned to their activation. And this year we have a blimp that's floating around out there somewhere. So everybody is back at the party. Well, not everybody. There's a lot of people who did not come this year because of concerns over COVID, obviously. And, that's very sensible that they didn't come. We haven't heard of an outbreak yet, but I have heard some people are at home and feeling crappy. So we'll see what happens. Despite that, I think the overwhelming feeling is that people are very, very grateful to be together again and reunited and doing this in person. I think the pandemic of the last 3 years have really they've strained the whole world. We're all in this together, but comics are a real community, and the community thrives on the collegiality and the connections that you make at Comic-Con. I mean, we always say Comic-Con's about the people, and it's about the experience of being with those people. So the overwhelming feeling that I've gotten is that everyone is really grateful to be together. And, so am I. It's really amazing to see some friends that I haven't seen in 3 years, even some friends who live in New York City. I mean, I don't see them, and I had to come here to see them, and it's been wonderful to connect with them. The other good news is that comics are still doing great. Sales are up over 2019. There were several panels that talked about that. There are some concerns. I did a panel yesterday on kind of the state of the industry, and publishers have some concerns about inflation, about the price of the cover price of comics. It does look like the price of books is going to go up because of supply issues, obviously, and just kind of the inflationary spiral that we're having. And that is a concern. We are not out of the woods, but I was on a panel once with Walt Simonson, Louise Simonson, and Chris Claremont, and they were joking about how when Walt Simonson was doing, Thor, that he had the feeling that the comics industry would be dead in a few years, so he might as well just go for it. And Wheezy and Chris were the same. It's like, oh yeah, we always thought the industry was going to end, so we were just like, you know what, go for broke. So that was about 40 years ago, and we're still here. So the comics industry really has this belief that it is dying. And I think when the pandemic started with so much disruption, it was like, you know what, this is it. We finally reached the end of the trail. And instead, it turned out that comics were more important than ever. They were a refuge for people. They were a moment of entertainment. They were something to collect and to enjoy. And that is the reason why sales have soared so much. It's like people needed comics. And they needed manga, and they needed anime, and they needed what we have here at Comic-Con, and that's why it thrived during these times. I think there's a lot of distractions in being back together. It's very hard to find what the news was. Obviously, the biggest news at Comic-Con is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is the biggest thing in the universe that we know of. And they had a huge panel yesterday, which I wasn't able to get into. And, that's kind of a sign of the times. Usually I find a way to wrangle in, but it was such a hot ticket. People were camped out overnight, like I haven't seen in a long time. They were really excited to hang out. So, but huge news coming out of there. Obviously, Phase 5 and Phase 6. I mean, I think people are eventually going to get sick of the Marvel Universe, but I think just the words Avengers Secret War were enough to get hearts pounding everywhere. So that was the biggest news. Comics news, there's a Batman Spawn crossover. This isn't the first time this has happened. This is, however, usually a sign that publishers are trying to they got to goose the engine a little bit. They got to prime the pump. Usually when you see these intercompany crossovers, it's, we need to do something to really get some attention. But should be good. Just a lot of continued success. The Eisner Awards, not a lot of surprise winners, but James Tynion IV won Best Writer, no surprise. Won an award for Something is Killing the Children and for The Nice House on the Lake. It was his year. He is really kind of the superstar of the moment. Very happy to see him win 3 awards. A very happy shout out to my good buddy Douglas Wolk for winning the Eisner for Best Journalistic Presentation Book for all the Marvels, a book that he spent 10 years reading every Marvel comic. So, if you don't get an award for that, something is wrong with this world. On my own personal note, I moderated 5 panels, and they all, or didn't moderate, wait, how many? I was on 5 panels, and I moderated 3 of them, so I think they went pretty well. Others will say otherwise. I got to meet Chris Jericho. That was kind of cool. And he mentioned, all right, so he mentioned that he says, I'm showing my age here, but, I really love Marv Wolfman. And I was like, oh, I used to be Marv's assistant. He's like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, we connected. You got to bond over Marv Wolfman. I think the main takeaway from San Diego Comic-Con 2022 is that this really still matters. And it's really still important to people. And it is still here. I think a lot of people had to get the rust off, myself included. I think we forgot how to do a few things. But by day 4, we're just right back where we were. Really, really tired and struggling to put our thoughts together. And that's why we wait until Sunday morning to do our little wrap-up video. So that's it from San Diego Comic-Con 2022. Keep it locked on The Beat. We're going to have a lot more coverage coming out over the next couple of weeks of panels we went to. Have to write up some of our interviews, other things that happened. I'm looking forward to having some time to actually read The Beat and see what happened. Because when you're on the ground, it is the fog of war here. But thank you very much. Thank you again, Mad Cave, for sponsoring us. And until next year, we will be back to Comic-Con.